happy, and I'll never say no to come to this club, because really you are an inspiring bunch. I've seen many youth clubs, and I think you are the best. So give yourself a good hand of applause. Be quiet. Now, normally what they do in workshops, they just put a screen and make a presentation, and everybody keeps looking at the screen and reading, but not focusing on what I'm saying. So today I'm having your ears and eyes focusing on what I'm saying. That's why I have no presentation. However, I have sent this presentation on WhatsApp. Let me ask a question. How many of you have seen the presentation? That's good. So you're going to help me out, just in case if I forget something, right? And listen carefully, you know why? Because at the end of this, I'm going to have a table topic question for the girls and a table topic question for the boys together as a group. Give you 1 minute to discuss among each other how to apply what you have heard. Bring a representative here to answer your questions. Let's do different questions, okay? And I will see who actually has implemented some of what I'm going to say. All right? So let's start together, and you might be able to help me. Now, a table topic has got sometimes different names. We call it table topic. We call it impromptu speech, and I think we call it thinking on your head. Thinking on your feet. Thank you. So you see, that's why I'm glad you have seen it, so you can help me when I forget something. So it's called also thinking on your feet. So it is actually a table topic or impromptu speech. It's just a speech. It's a mini speech, right? It's a small one. It's got only 2.5 minutes. And since it's a mini speech, the rules of the speech applies to it, which means it has to have an opening and a body and a conclusion. Wow, it looks like you have seen it. So that's very, very important. Now, one of the important things with any speech or mini speech is before you come, you should know your audience. Now, if I come here and talk to you and start talking about engineering and about my experience over 40 years of so many things, most probably be bored. I'll be honest with you, I've listened to some of the speeches in my club given by some Toastmasters where he talks about engineering and technical terms. You know what I do? I start actually reading my messages because he bores me. I have no interest. So it's important when you come to do a speech, including a table topic, you do it with the subject which interests the people. Now, one question. How many of you are going to actually participate in a contest of table topic? Wow, quite a lot. Now, although what I'm going to say is extremely important, however, we cannot neglect, when you are in contest, there are judges to judge you whether you get the first or second place. So the ballot of the judges is very important. Look at it. And when you try to develop a speech, whether a mini or large, always consider, if I'm a contest, I have to look at this and see what the judges are marking. Now, usually they mark for 3 things. One is called content, one is called delivery, and one is called language, what language you use. The content is, I think, about 55. Correct, thank you. And the delivery, 30%, and the language, 15%. No, so that's something small, but I have to mention it if you are participating in a contest. Now, a lot of people say, excuse me, you're talking about table topic, you have to prepare for table topic. Can we prepare for table topic?
No.
Yeah, how can we prepare for table topic? You come here, you don't know what question is going to be thrown at you, okay? How can I come home? I have no glass ball to think what question he has. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not true. That is a myth. Yes, we can prepare for table topic before we come. And any questions which get thrown up at us, we can answer it. So it's not true that we cannot prepare. Now, first of all, the structure of approaching any table topic or any speech for that, particularly table topic, there's something which we call it LPTTE. Now, I've seen a lot of people, the moment the guy asks a question, if I give you $1,000, what are you going to do with it? What can you do with it? You know, the person comes here, oh, if I have $1,000, I will buy ice cream and I will do this. He throw himself in the fire. He starts talking right away. That's not the idea. The best way to deal with a tabletop question, while he's asking the question, listen and focus. Because when you're listening, okay, because some of the people think, instead of listening, they think, oh my God, what the question is, you know, what people will think about me. You know, their mind is somewhere else, and he missed the question. No, listen and focus. Because when he reads the question, particularly in a contest, he reads the question once, he reads the question twice. He will say, contestant number 4, Muhammad, contestant number 4, Muhammad. While he was saying that, reading the question twice and mentioning your name, that's already about 15 to almost 15 seconds, which you can gain, and you think about the question. And then, you come here and you pause. The first thing you do, for the first 5 seconds, don't open your mouth. What you do, you look at the audience with silence. And you smile. It's very important, because smiling is contagious. And then they will smile back at you. And then the silence, they will think, wow, what is he going to say? He must be thinking of something big. You know, you arouse their curiosity already. Never ever. And I will, if I have a chance to, I've seen before, and I'm sure I've sent you the videos, the chance to see your table topics, I hope you can apply that, because, so, think, listen, think, and then talk. Not talk right away. It's very, very important. Remember, 200, you have to have 2 minutes, 30 seconds. Can you tell me how many seconds is that? 150 seconds, plus his 160 seconds. That's almost 3 minutes, guys. So, make use of it and think, okay? Because some people get scared of silence. Silence, you know, when you ask a question, there's silence. I must say something, because, you know, otherwise people think, why I'm silent? No, take your time. 150 minutes for you here, it seems to be like it's going very fast, because, but for the people sitting there, it's 150 seconds is a lot of time. So give yourself that 5 to 10 seconds to think before you talk. Now, let me give you some of the techniques, because we said we cannot prepare for table topic, okay? The first one, sometimes I have to put my glasses, because you see I'm not as young as I used to be. As I said, listen to the question carefully, okay? Pause before you talk. Some people, when the question is a little bit hard, and even with those 10 seconds, and his own 5 seconds, still he didn't grab it, he's still looking for ideas. You can add yourself another 3 or 4 seconds to think by repeating the question. Question asked to me today was, if you get $1,000, how you spend it? So while you're repeating the question, you're actually giving yourself more time. But if you got the answer right away, if the question has passed by you, don't repeat the question, because you'll be wasting your time. You gain that time to prepare, because maybe you have answered this question in a club, or maybe you have the answer, or maybe an idea came to you. Don't repeat. You only repeat the question if the idea hasn't come to your mind, okay? And as I said, smile, because smiling is contagious, and it's, you know, people can feel your energy. Now, grab the attention of the audience with the opening. This is the most difficult part, okay? Some people will start right away. If I have $1,000, what I will do, excuse me, no, say something which could shock the audience, something which could grab the attention of the audience. I'll give you some examples. For instance, arouse their curiosity, okay? I will say, stop and think, and then I will say, I'm going to make a confession to you today. Even my mother and father don't know about it. Even my best friends don't know about it. And this is the first time I'm going to make this confession. Boy, you say that, and everybody want to know about your secrets. Everybody will be grabbing, listening to you, okay? You can also ask a question. A lot of people ask a question. It could be, what do you call it? A direct question. It could be an open-ended question. You don't need an answer, okay? Say the question, you know, $1,000. How about that? How about if we get $1,000? You're not expecting anything, but you're asking a question, okay? It could be a rhetorical question. Okay? Have you ever been in an incident or whatever? Question asked, why me? Why me? You're not expecting an answer from the audience. Okay? Ask the audience sometimes to imagine. Please close your eyes. Put your hands out. Imagine you have $1,000 in your hand. Can you imagine that? Okay, open your eyes. Now, a lot of you have a lot. That's another way of actually starting either a speech or a table topic. Give the question a twist. For instance, you can talk, question could be about bullying. And then you say, yeah, bullying is a difficult thing. A lot of people suffer from it, and I have experienced it. Now, what people are expecting you here to say, that you've been bullied. I was the one who bullied everybody. That's a twist, you know, because when everybody comes and he talks about his story, how he has been bullied. Another twist, you say, they can ask you, for instance, okay, who do you compare yourself with? Everybody keeps saying, I compare myself to my mother, to my father, to my teacher. Have something different. I compare myself to a dolphin. Excuse me, dolphin? What dolphins are known about? Dolphins are being caring, looking after people. Dolphins are caring, and I'm a caring person. So, always try to think out of the box for the opening, which is very important to grab the attention. Sometimes you get a question, I call it widen your spectrum, okay? You get a question which you have absolutely no idea about. What was your worst experience when you were playing football? She never played football in her life. She wouldn't even know. She cannot say, well, I've never played football. Here, what you do, look at the question and think, what are the words he used? Look up for the underlying word, the important word. Worst experience. I never played football, but I had worst experiences. And you could quickly say, I wish I could play football. I would have had good experiences. But I had worse experiences in my life, but not in football. And talk about whatever worst experience you have. So if you find a question which you cannot answer, we have no idea about, look for any word which is a strong word and use it. So that's what we call widen your spectrum. You don't stay with the question. Now, the most important thing in delivering a message or speech, any speech, particularly a major prepared speech or this one, never ever end it up just like this. Always leave a message. A message which, you know, that could be about honesty, could be about trust, could be about caring, okay? We call it call for action. And I hope that everybody will one day, and whatever the message is, always leave it with a good message, okay? Build your personal narratives, and this is where I come to the idea of you can prepare for table topic. How can you prepare for table topic? Okay. First of all, by coming here and practicing every week, that's already part of the practice and preparation. Number two, what I do, always have a piece of paper, okay, in your pocket. Any incident, major incident, which happens to you, funny thing, something which you get, write it down. You can actually sit down today and say, okay, let me see what things happen in my family, what things which are really, you know, write them down as, you know, guidance, because you can use them, because usually the best speech, mini speech or speech delivery is always when you have personal stories in them. People love it, and you get more points. So make sure you have always, you can sit down as of today, okay, at home, and make a list of fights, problems, happiness, happy incidents, happy events, exciting events. A lot of things could happen in your life. Make a list of them, okay? And you can practice, you know, as a team together. You can have a game. You know, if you go to the internet, there are 360 questions in one particular site alone. And believe me, I've seen in contests so many questions come from this list. Look at them. Have a game. Practice. Okay. Once you do, you know, sometimes you get a question and you want to have a personal story, but it doesn't come to you in those 30 seconds. Okay? And then when you go and sit down, you know what happens? You remember, I could have talked about this. Suddenly the ideas come to you. But if you have a list and you look at it from time to time and you do with your friends practice, trust me, okay, you will, you know, be able to. So you can actually practice and prepare for table topic by having such a list, okay, which I call it personal narratives. The 5 technique, which is one of the most important things if you want to have a killer, speech killer, is authenticity, sincerity, and passion. That's why if you talk about your personal story, if you talk about something which concerns you, you will say it with passion, with sincerity, and people will feel it. The judges will feel that you're sincere. But if you talk about anything, whatever, on the subject, and just to fill the time, that will be missing. And that is very, very important, because if you can give that message that you're sincere and you're authentic, people will. Now, to summarize, we said that it is a mini speech. Judge's ballot is very important to look at. It's a false myth that we cannot prepare for it. Yes, we can. Remember, listen, pause, think, and talk, and end. And then the 5 techniques: grab the audience attention, and I gave you a few techniques there. Widen your spectrum. If you have a question which you're not sure, look for the right word. Worst experience. Have a purpose in your message. You know, always send it up with a message. Build your narratives. Always have, you know, stories. Write them down. List them down as of today. And anything happens to you, sometimes it happens to me. You know, sometimes I'm just about to sleep and I think of something. I always have a notepad next to me. The only thing which I don't do when I'm driving, because it'd be silly if I drive and suddenly I'll end up in trouble. But I can pull on the side of the road, because sometimes when it comes, the idea comes to you, and then after maybe half an hour it disappears. You'll never remember it. Always to write it down. And last but not least, be authentic and have passion. These are very important. Thank you very much for listening. And having said that, now we're going to have a little exercise. So, a table topic question for the girls and a table topic question for the boys. And what you do, I'll give it to you. You have 1 minute. Sit down, think. Say, how can we have an introduction? How can we have something to grab the attention? And then you think of, maybe can we have a little story here? And then what message can we give? Okay, you have 1 minute together, collectively, think about it, and then select one person to come over here. And I will read you the question. So when I'm reading, you have enough time also to think as a group. Now, the question for the boys is, what makes you angry and why? What makes you angry and why? And I'll give you this. For the girls, it is, whom do you secretly envy and why? Whom do you secretly envy and why? So the boys, you can have your question, and I will time so that you don't have to time. You can think, and the girls, you can have your question, and I will time it, and you have exactly 1 minute from this moment to think. Together, get together. Yeah, get together. Get together, think about it. Think of the opening, grab an opening, good story. Together, go as a group, come on, as a group. Yeah. I wish you can win.
Excellent, but
1 minute you have. I think that's it.